Hey there, guys. We just had the live stream update number 76 for February 2024. And in this video, as usual, I'll be giving you a slightly condensed recap and my thoughts on the live stream. So this one, there wasn't really a whole lot of information, just new unit, Clash of Wills, and that's kind of it. But let's go over it. There are some major Clash of Wills changes, though, to talk about. So, first of all, right away, the brand new unit is Divine Archer Aang. I'm honestly pretty happy to see this because, I've always kind of liked Aang. If you've been watching my videos since, day one, way back in the day, Aang would be one of the most common units for like a 4-month period. When I'd get like a carry for an event, I'd always get like Ganzi the Mage to build me an Aang, and I'd use Aang as the friend unit back in the 5-star days. The 5-star Aang was a pretty strong one-turn kill unit. So, fond memories back then, but now we're getting Divine Archer Aang, and the sprite, I think, looks pretty good. I did see a few comments saying, good sprite work, kind of cool. But the unit is a damage dealer and a buffer. So I will say pretty much right off the top, it seems like they're pretty much just taking Esper of Ruin Roos from the upcoming Neovisions Plus era. He's not Neovisions Plus, but he's, part of that time frame. He's a support unit, and it sounds like Aang is going to be pretty much a carbon copy from what we were previewed. Obviously, we need to see the whole kit, but a few of the big selling points of Roos were his AoE 400 stat buff and 300 LB buff. This Aang has the same thing. Roos's 70% field. Aang has the same thing. Water unit, etc., etc. That being said, Global has done this in the past where they basically just take a JP unit and give us a better version. If you remember, Ibarra came out was it before or after the same time as Deoxys? I think she was actually a week after. Maybe before? I don't know. In any case, Ibarra was basically Deoxys but better. So I'm going to assume Aang is just Esper Roos, or Esper of Ruin Roos, but better. That's my prediction. We'll have to see on Thursday. So, Aang was ranked 7th in the popularity poll, designed to support the party instead of dealing solely damage. This is a little concerning to see that, because it seems like they're setting you up to be like, Aang is going to deal low damage. He might not. He might deal great damage. But for his selling point to be, instead of solely dealing damage, it makes me feel like he's going to deal low damage. I don't know. I do not know. I will definitely calculate him on Thursday when we see the full kit on the wiki. A strong physical attacker specializing in water and fire, can support the party with various buffs. Area effects 70% for water, obviously very good. Strong leader skill, we'll see that in a moment. And then in morale content, he has a 180 amplify. That's always nice to see. The only other ones are Richt for light and Ayabrea for fire, so it's definitely nice to get more of those 180 amplifies. Obviously, it's self only. Some more previewed abilities is his Clear Sun ability. This is not limited to Clash of Wills, at the very least not according to the preview. And they said on the stream that this is a 400% stat buff and a 300% LB buff. Like I said, literally copy of Aang or Roos's ability, which is good. It's a good ability. So it's a good thing to copy. By all means, copy all the good abilities. Happy to see it. Okay. And here's his Vertex ability. Remember, Murray has one for 100% attack power. His is 30% water amplify for the party. Now, I was listening for it. I did not hear them specifically say this will stack with existing amplifies. Now, I'm going to assume, I could be making a mistake here, I'm going to assume this is going to stack on top of existing amplifies and fields, because that's how Murray's works, that's how Esther's works. And if it doesn't, it'd be basically worthless, because literally in Wardaga is better. So it has to stack, right? But they didn't say that. They didn't explicitly say it's going to stack. But I would assume it does. And that's going to be really good. Obviously, if you're doing a water party, that's very strong. So very nice. Now, it is a little bit more restrictive than Murray's, because Murray is just attack power, period. So even if you stick Murray on like a wind party 3 clashes down the road, it's still useful. If you're doing a water amplify and you're not doing a water team, well, it does nothing. So it's more narrow, but that being said, it's definitely better than 100 attack power when you are doing water. And then here's the leader skill. So out of Clash of Wills, 500, ignorable, worthless. We're not using that anymore outside of Clash of Wills. In Clash of Wills, in Clash, this is actually really good. So it's 1,000 attack and magic to all Clash of Wills categories and water category. So every single Clash of Wills plus every single water unit. So basically, Elena's leader skill is now pretty much power crept, because Elena is 850 to all Clash of Wills. This is 1,000 to all Clash of Wills. No restrictions whatsoever. So you can put in, whatever you want. Near units, you can put in Wilk, whatever. All of them. So really good leader skill in Clash. Ignorable outside of Clash. Here's TMR and STMR. Again, pretty decent. So the STMR is probably going to be for Aang only. No one's really using a bow, but I guess you could, because it does give 100% double hand and 100 bird killer. So, it's fine. But the TMR is actually really impressive. It's 50% killer to Dragon, Fairy, and Bird, which is the current upcoming Clash of Wills, so that's nice. And then some attack power and LB damage. It's good. It's good. I like it. The Vision card, I would normally say is kind of ew, because 130 attack power, to be expected, it's not a premium. I would assume it's not a premium. They didn't say, but I would assume it's not a premium. But it does have 100% to 3 different killers, and that's pretty good. Like 100% to 3 different killers, and it is, of course, the 3 killers for the current upcoming Clash of Wills. But still, Dragon, Fairy, Bird by 100, and then the usual 100 attack, 100 LB damage, and 500 flat. It's a good card. It's a really good card. The only downside is, lower base, but still. I wonder how much that's actually equal to. So 40 less attack power. We're going to do a real quick bit of math. So 40 attack power times 5 for the base plus passive, 9 because of the in-battle buffs, and then 10 because of 1,000% leader skill. So that'd be 40 times 19. So you're missing 760 attack power by using this card instead of a 170 card. That's honestly a lot. And then if you're comparing to like Rick's card, you're losing another 150. So that's 900 attack power by using this card. It's a lot of attack power. That's a lot of it. It's almost 1,000 attack power less. That's a really big deal. So I'm maybe taking back my praise that this card is good. Maybe it's not good. That's 1,000 attack power. That's a lot. It's a lot of attack power. Anyway, on to the Clash of Wills Another. There's basically going to be some major changes to the upcoming Clash of Wills system as a whole. So they talked about how they heard feedback, and they know the Clash of Wills system as they designed it was no good, no fun, people didn't like it. Maybe there was, 1 or 2 people that liked it, but 99.9% of players did not like Clash of Wills Another. It was unpopular for one reason or another. Everyone had their own reasons, but on the whole, it was very negatively received. I think maybe like 2 people said, oh, this is interesting. Everyone else was like, this is terrible. They made some pretty major nerfs to the boss specifically last month, but they didn't make any changes to the underlying system. Now they're making changes to the underlying system. So first of all, chance time, instead of being only 1 turn in the fight, is now going to be 3 turns in the fight. So that by itself is already a major change. Major change. So instead of having to deal, effectively, depending on how you did the fight, 12 to 15 billion damage in 1 turn, because if you wanted that perfect score, you had to kill it on that 1 and only turn of chance. Well, now it's 3 turns. So you can do like a baby burst, then the whole setup turn, then another burst. You can use things like Abigail and Melissa to just refill your LB gauge 3 turns in a row and go like burst, 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 and do like, 5, 5, 6 or something. Like, yeah, you can. This is way more flexible, way better. Now, it is still a little bit more limiting than just, free for all, burst on whatever turn you please. But still, 3 turns is better than 1. A lot better than 1. That's so much more flexible. Focus abilities. We're going to go over this more in a minute, but the summary of focus abilities, every single JP unit in the entire game now has focus abilities. Everyone. So, including a lot of global units. We'll go over that more in a minute. There's like a whole dedicated system to the new focus system. But some of the major baseline changes are that instead of 900 per unit, it goes to 1200 per unit. This, it's good, sure, more is better, but it's honestly almost not even a big deal, because the reason 900 was terrible was because there were so few focus units, and just one single focus unit of the older version couldn't fill you in time. At 1200, I think, doing the quick math in my head, they should be able to, one of them, but now that every single JP unit in the game has focus abilities, it's not going to matter that much that it does more, but more is better. More is better. Great. Vertex abilities are now going to be on every single Clash of Wills unit in the game. Every single one. If you have the Clash of Wills category, you get a Vertex ability. So instead of just Mirai and Esther, you can take anyone. All your units have it. So, yeah. So before we get any further in this, I'm going to take a moment and give a little bit of opinion, which may seem grumpy in the face of some really good changes. To me, the issue here is, I don't know, it's like, okay, so they went so ridiculously narrow and extreme to start off the system, and the system got horribly negative feedback. Obviously, when you go that narrow, it's going to irritate people, and it did. But now they're going so far in the opposite direction, it's really almost to the point of what is even the purpose of the system at all. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, now that every single unit in the game has either a focus or a vertex ability, or both of them in quite a few cases. Units that cross over, like Flaring Rain or Deity Typhus, they're going to have both of these because they qualify for both, and I'll show you why in a minute. But at that point, it's almost like, what is even the point of the new system? Why did you go in and tinker with stuff and, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you should have just left well enough alone. And this whole Clash of Wills Another just was a waste of time. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So I kind of get the idea. I kind of get the reasoning. Like, they wanted to make it more interesting, maybe. I'm being generous here. The real reason is they wanted to sell more units. I understand that, and it backfired really horribly. But at this point, it's so far in the other direction, it's almost like, what is the point? This is just adding, like, tediousness at this point. Like, okay, so we're going to have to do, like, a turn of activating the focus abilities. Other than that, nothing else really changes because everyone has it at this point. It's not gonna influence team building. It's not really going to influence your strategy other than, like I said, taking away one of your turns to activate the focus abilities. Other than that, it's the whole system has become, what's the point? Why even change things around and make it more tedious? I don't know. You get what I'm saying? Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what you think from the original system. Did you actually like it? I'd be surprised to see anyone say yes with a honest face. Did they go too far? Was this needed? Blah, blah, blah. Let me know your thoughts on it. Anyway, let's move along. So here is the generic Vertex ability that all Clash of Wills units get. It's basically irrelevant. So if you remember these focus abilities that I can't find right here. So these actually do something. So Mirai and Aang are still going to have really valuable places on your party because their Vertex ability actually does something. Whereas Esther's, and now the generic one for everyone else, does basically nothing. Like, you activate this turn before you burst, 50 defensive spirit. I mean, you know, Eileen is doing more damage, and Lilith. Other than that, it does nothing. So, yeah, it's like just adding tediousness for the point of it. It's not really improving the mode any. Anyway, and here's the focus ability. So focus abilities will go for everyone that has JP categories, which is Final Fantasies 1 through 15, Tactics, Type 0, all seasoned 1 through 4 global originals, or not global, Brave Exvius originals. Anniversary JP, Another World, and Reward. So Another World is the big one here. That's going to be a lot of crossover units. So Nier, A2, 2B, Aya Brea, if anyone's still using her, Laura Croft, Addison Rae. All the collaboration units are now going to get focused abilities as well. And they're also going to get the Vertex abilities because they are Clash of Wills category. Also the crossover JP units. So Deity Tyvis, King Noctis, Ramza, Wondrous Flash Lightning. All of these will have both Vertex and Focus abilities. So they're going to have both of them. So that's a lot of units. So again, it's like, at this point, because everyone has the abilities, it's like, instead of trying to just dilute it this far, they should have just taken the system away entirely and gone back to what we've enjoyed for 2 years. Why even put the system in the first place if now it's so pointless? Yeah. So the other thing, and as you can see here, we're getting a collaboration. We'll go over that more in a minute. And here is a little bit of sadness. So we've already seen the reduction in quality for global with the news stuff. We used to have pretty news from the art team. Now the art team of global being missing is now shown in the Clash of Wills. We're literally recycling sprites at this point. This is a sprite that has been in the game since day one. Back in like April of 2015 or 2016, whenever the game came out. This is from the ice city, the exploration leading to Shiva. This is a sprite that's been here for 7 years, and they're just they're making it gold colored. It's the Evil Drake sprite, and that's disappointing. To see that, because Clash of Wills always had a cool little sprite. And just to see the quality of global going down so much that now they can't even do sprites anymore, it's unfortunate. It's not a good look for the game that you can't even do a sprite. And we're also not getting an event either. I should mention that as well. Yet again, literally no event whatsoever this week. Just nothing. We're getting Clash of Wills, but that's not really an event. That's a ranked content. We're getting no event, no story event. There's going to be Aang. Nothing. No raid, no farming event. Absolutely no event whatsoever this week. So other than Clash of Wills, which is content, but other than Clash of Wills, there is nothing going on this week. Again, we just had a week of nothing. The week before that, we had just Dark Visions and nothing else. Like, what is going on? There's nothing to do in the game anymore. There's nothing to do anymore. It's killing me. So as far as Clash of Wills goes, they previewed a little bit. We're not going to go over this too much. I'll stream it on Thursday, and we'll figure it out. And it'll be, I assume easy, but you never know. It could be ridiculous. It could completely destroy my team and kill me, and I'll be super, super disappointed. The good news is, I'm very happy about Aang, and just seeing Aang in the preview, I do want to pull for Aang. So I'm probably, I got to see the whole kit. But I'm probably going to go all the way for Aang, all the way to Pity. We're going to try to get him nice and high EX levels. I skipped Murray. I ended up getting her off of video summons, and then I went ahead and bought all her shards, which got her to EX2. That was just lucky. But Aang, I'm going to go day one, all the step up, all the way to Pity, depending on the data mine. I do have to see the data mine on Thursday night. But it's looking good so far. Again, just more previews about this. And then the last thing is, in 2 weeks from now, starting on the 22nd, we're getting the Collection of Mana collaboration. So Randy Prim and Papoy. And this was, again, really disappointing. Now, this doesn't really mean anything, but what they said on the stream is these units are being upgraded with focus abilities. Not that they're getting unit upgrades, like better mods, better stats, fixes, etc. They're just getting focus abilities. So they're basically saying, yeah, they're going to be included in the plus focus. But they didn't mention any actual upgrades. And oh my god, do these units need upgrades? Do they desperately need upgrades? So badly do they need upgrades. Now, they could still be getting them. That's 2 weeks out. We'll see more in the news in 2 weeks. But on the stream, they said they're only getting... Well, they said they're going to be upgraded with focus ability. I think that was the exact wording. One of them said the mana units will be upgraded with focus abilities. Take that as you will. We'll know more in 2 weeks. I really hope there's some actual upgrades for these units, because they are so dead if they don't get them. And so bad. And that would be unfortunate. Anyway, that was the stream. That's it. We've got a new unit. We've got a new Clash of Wills boss. And that's it. That was the entire stream. There was no Q&A. There's no events. There's no discussion about any kind of community feedback we've had in the last two months or whatever. Nothing. Just Clash of Wills, new unit. See you next month. Okay. I will see you guys probably in a few hours for the news. See you then.